There's a clip of a training that I just did. And so basically the talk that I did, I talked about how I would build a law firm as a non-attorney. Everyone builds a law firm right now by bringing in clients, then trying to build systems, processes, technology around serving them, and then they try to bring on team. Where I would go the exact opposite. I would bring on the team, then systems, process, technology for the team to operate, then find the clients, right? That's the
Moshe,
way that a business owner would invest in their business and start it.
I one of my favorite exercises is to have lawyers go to their local pizza place and tell them how they are starting their business. What do you mean? You're going to start the business and you're going to bring people in before you have ovens and before you have servers?
Right.
They would think you're insane. But yeah,
It's a
it's
perfect
common in the legal
analogy. I
space.
use the analogy of a supermarket, but it's the same thing, right? Like if we look at
Mhm.
any store any retail operation, it would be crazy to try to find your customers first and then say, okay, now that you're here, let me go and order inventory and let me order the thing to serve you. The other analogy that I give, and because there's a gap, right? Like if you buy into the fact that you need to build capacity first, right? Like you need to bring team on and then fill that capacity, then we're back to that financial conundrum, right? And that's the place that I struggled with my clients for the first 3 years of my coaching program because they were getting small results. They were not getting the big swings because they weren't willing to bring that attorney on. So they were hiring international VAs, like they were doing the things to make them a little bit more productive when the thing that's going to move the needle is bringing in somebody to replace you doing the legal work, right? So if we try to think about like what's preventing you from doing that, it's simply just having some cash in the bank. So go borrow it. I know Ryan
Yep.
talked about having credit card debt and whatever, but he was amassing that debt through bad business operation,
Yep.
right? There's nothing wrong with taking on debt that's going to grow the next phase of your firm that you're then going to be able to accelerate and pay off very quickly because you just unlocked a new level in your business. So, and the analogy I give here is a 7-Eleven. Everyone knows what a 7-Eleven is. A 7-Eleven costs somewhere between 750,000 and 1.2 million to open between fabricating the space, filling the shelves, hiring the people, getting started, right? The owner probably doesn't have 750 to 1.25 million in the bank when they open it. Usually they spend about 20% of their own money and the rest they borrow. So essentially they're willing to borrow $1 million to open a 7-Eleven. Whoa, that's a lot of risk, right? Well, until I tell you that the average 7-Eleven has a net profit every year of 1.25 million. Would you be willing to borrow $1 million to generate 1.25 million every year for the next 50 years? We all would say yes, right? And it wouldn't matter what the interest rate was because we recognize that even if it was 50% interest rate, we could pay it back in 2 years. If it's less, it's even faster, right? Like just live on the way I'm living right now. Don't make believe I'm making $1 million and pay that off. But our law firm, where I need $100,000 in the bank to be confident to be able to hire an attorney and a paralegal, and some of those support staff, and then spend a little bit of money on marketing and get that wheel moving to generate 400,000 or 500,000 in profit the next year. We're not willing to do that. So we have to really start to recognize what does a business owner look like and start making decisions from there. And I love that you talked about how you're starting with Best Era because you put the team in place. And now we're going to find the people.
And the first thing I did, which is unlike my other firms, is I went to the bank and I got a $50,000 line of credit, and I called up Chase and I got a no interest business credit card that has a $27,500 limit on it. And I put in my own money. I put in my own money as well, but I wasn't going to start the firm without able to seize opportunities and yes, leverage debt and talent to grow my new business.
Yeah. I even changed our coaching program. I created a version of it called Elite Fast Track where we help law firm owners navigate the financial system to get that lined up. Exactly what you just did, a business line of credit, 0% credit card, stuff like that, so that you have that runway. And I think from a business perspective, it all makes sense. From a attorney perspective, all it looks like is risk. And we have to decouple what is the real risk. In this talk that I did, I basically put side by side how most attorneys build their firm and if you built your firm this way. And all I did is in the two scenarios, is I said, whenever we make more money in the second scenario, we're going to invest that in the stock market. And I did a 20-year comparison. Now, there's a lot of assumptions in there, but they're good assumptions. And anybody who looks at it would be able to identify and say, this is pretty close to reality based on my experience, right? In the first version, the way most people grow their firms, in 20 years, if they continue to rinse and repeat and recycle what they're doing, they would eventually have amassed $12 million in profit over 20 years. And in my version, by just taking the excess and investing it in the stock market at a 10% return, they would have 30 million. That's the real cost of not doing it. It's not, oh, I'm going to make 100,000 or 300,000. It's what's the opportunity cost of not making more or not growing more faster, taking 5 years to get to the next level instead of 1 or 2. That's the true opportunity cost, the time lost where you could have been more successful. And what could you have done with that success?